Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Be Healed Tuesday night in the month of Be Healed. I know some of you are looking at your calendar and it says August, but it's Be Healed month. Why is it Be Healed month? Oh, because this is when we're having our Be Healed Women's Conference. Oh, yes. Okay, August 17th through the 19th. And so we're celebrating, we're counting down. Okay, we are about we're 16 days away. I was like, oh, I know somebody going to make fun about my numeration on that one, but we're 16 days away from Be Healed starting. I just can't wait. So welcome everyone. I'm your host, Camille R. Perry. So excited for tonight's episode. This guest that I have is very close and near and dear to my heart. She is my sister from another mister. I'm grateful for who she is and her placement in my life, and most importantly, how she's been able to share her gifts and talents and what God has given her in not just abroad and not just in the local churches, but coming alongside when God first gave me to do Be Healed conference in 2018 for 2019, I saw it very clearly for Sonya Davis to be the ministering voice for that conference. And she has been just that. And so I'm extremely grateful and thankful for her being yet with us. Now this is in our third year. And so she will be present coming this August 19th through the 21st. So I'm excited. So we're going to get ready. I'm going to introduce you to her. I'm so excited to have her. Let me just tell you a little bit about her before she joins in. All right. Sonya Davis is, she's Jean and Ann's daughter. Let's start there. She's Joshua's big sister and she's Angie's little sister. Okay. And she's DeWard's wife and Sarah's mama. That's right. She wears many hats, worship leader, worship pastor, insurance agent and broker. I mean, you name it, she does a lot. However, the best, I would say the best name that she has is one of being a worshiper. And so our title for tonight is Survive Through Worship. And so I'm going to bring her in. And so let's make sure we welcome her in. I want to make sure her internet connection as well. Let's see. Let's test this out. Hey, sissy. Can you hear me? Okay, well, she looks wonderful, but I don't know if she can hear me. Let's do Sonya, can you hear me? All right, no worries. She'll be right back, okay? But in the meantime, we're let's see this. She jumping right back in. All right. You back? All right. We'll wait and see. I can't hear you though. Where's your audio? Gotta love technology, y'all. This is the joy of all of this happening. Gotta love technology. And so we're going to work on seeing why we can't hear this dynamic person, because you know what she's going to do tonight. She's also going to sing for us. So we're going to hear from her. She's going to share, but most important, she's going to share her story and then she's going to sing. So make sure you smile at the camera because everybody can see you. I just don't know why we can't hear you. Nope, can't hear you. I can read your lips though. And if we're going to do that, we might as well open up a little business of me trying to interpret. So what are we going to do with the audio, dear? Let's do this. How about you try your laptop? Try the laptop and then see if we can get you on audio that way. But it's not coming with no volume. So, you know, Dion, you already know how this goes. But nevertheless, no, we can't hear you, dear. I'm going to just put you over here and you let me know when you're ready to come back. I'm going to run to a commercial break. We'll be right back. All right. And so, quick commercial. Just want to let you know that this episode is actually brought to you by our partners and amazing folks at Ian Marcasa Eyewear. And so, if you ever want to check them out, you can go to emframes.com, use my code CRP15, and get 15% off your order. That's right. 15% off your order at just type in that's edwardmaryframes.com, and you can use CRP15 and you can get prescription glasses. You can get, if you just want to rock cool frames, like for me, I wear the Camille frame. This is the Camille. So if you want one of these wonderful pairs of sets, use my code. All right, you'll be happy that you did, and let them know that I sent you. Well, if you're using the code, they'll know it's me. All right. So CRP15 is our code for tonight. And we're so grateful for Ian Marcaza being part of our proud sponsors of the Be Healed Web Show. And so I'm really excited to partner with them, and we'll see what all comes up with that. All right, next announcement. Let me check this chat real quick. Maybe her volume is turned down. Possibly. We're going to have to take a listen and take a look. Well, I've already stated it. It's Be Healed Women's virtual conference happening. It's like hybrid. I have a few folks that are coming in that will be live in the sanctuary, but for the most part, it'll be virtual, and it'll be August 19th through the 21st. And again, to register, ladies, it's not too late to register. Go to www.behealedconference.com. $40 registration. You don't want to miss it. Okay, it is an awesome thing. So, and as well as we're preparing for Be Healed this upcoming week, all of my guests are individuals that are actively involved in Be Healed, and they're part of my core team. And I'm so excited. So as soon as we can get Sonya in on here, I know y'all waiting to hear her, see her. Listen, I am too. But as tonight is going to be with Sonya Barnes Davis. Next week, we'll have Nicoya Ejiri from Arizona. She's going to be dialing in with us. And then the following week, we're going to have Dolores Jackson right here out of the city of Ontario. So I can't wait. And so when you hear these women's stories and how God has changed and transformed, trust me, you don't want to miss it. All right. So these next and that will be August. Dolores Jackson, I call her Mama too. She'll be on August 17th. So we're looking back to back, and that kind of kicks us in to Be Healed Week. And I'm so excited. So I'm going to ask you all this. Have you all registered for the conference? If you have already registered, go ahead and drop that in the chat. If you haven't registered, what's up? Tell me why. What's going on? You got other things to do in the midst of a pandemic? Okay, we'll see. All right. But most importantly, I'm just happy that you're here with us on tonight. All right, let's see here. Hey, Sarah, that's my chapter president, Miss Stacy Ezerero. So good to see you, my dear. Great to have you on tonight. And so, all right, let me check back. But as the show must go on, because I don't want to bore your patience, I'm going to work in to see what we can do to get Sonya back in here. But for the most part, as we're getting ready and to go into Be Healed, one of the biggest things that has been a conversation topic is regarding the process and the journey of healing, and how painful, how ugly, how tumultuous the healing process can be. I had my mom on here, and she was talking about my journey when I was ill. And even though I survived it and came out of it, it was still an ugly process. Even now, there's still some pieces and parts that have not completely come together. And I was really thinking about, have you ever fallen off a bike? Am I the only one that has, I'm literally accident prone. I don't skate. I pretty much fall. I'm really good at falling. I would like to skate though. One of my sorors, she be skating all the time, and I just think she's amazing. But I don't skate. I can't ride a bike that had little issues, and you falling off your bike or you're falling down, and like when you get that that burn, or that concrete burn, or that road burn, or even if you scrape your knee or you scrape your arm, your elbow, and while it's healing, the process of it healing, it looks ugly, the discoloration, the scabbing, so many different pieces to that. Josh, of course, I knew you could recognize me. Josh, reach out to your sister, okay? See what's going on. And so it's one of those things where when you're in that healing process, it's not cute, and a lot of us are hurting in so many ways, so many ways. And as we're hurting and as we're trying to heal, it's still an ugly process. It's still something that we're not used to. And so I want us all to embrace the journey of healing. Now I'm gonna check in and see if I see Sonya. Let me see if I can hear her. I'm gonna do a quick test. Y'all be with me. Y'all praying? Okay. Cause look, y'all know y'all want. I know y'all here for Sonya. Come on. Oh, I hear you.
You can hear me?
I can.
Yay!
Look at God. Won't He do it? See, we have
Won't
folks
He
on
will?
here praying. We have folks on here praying. That's what I'm talking
Thank you,
about.
Lord.
Welcome. Well,
Thank you.
I'm happy
Let
you're
me.
here. You heard the introduction.
I did.
And some other good things. And so I'm gonna let you get situated for about a good 10 seconds.
All
That
right.
that's
I
about it.
phone off.
Okay.
So
And
how?
so you can say hi to the people that are tuning in. Folks is watching. They've been waiting to hear from you, Miss Sonya Barnes Davis. So I'm happy to have you all the way from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, you out there
I'm in
being a real
Tulsa.
Okie.
Have been here for almost a year now,
Mm-hmm.
and we are situating ourselves for at least another year.
Okay.
Trying to get this camera to do right. Okay. Y'all can see me okay, right? I don't know how to change it. I'm not trying to mess with it so you can continue to hear me.
Yeah, it's perfect. We're just gonna do it just like this, and we're gonna make
Okay.
it work.
All
People
right.
gonna think you have an Android, but we'll talk about you later.
I really don't. I'm working on my iPad now. Can y'all hear me okay? Can you
Yes,
hear me
we can
okay?
hear you fine, very well.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So, your topic tonight that you chose was survive through worship, and
Right.
so, and I was just sharing with them as we were adjusting and moving through about the ugliness of healing, and that it's not a cute process. It's not even when you're coming out of surgery or you're if anything that people are doing. It's not a cute process. Healing can be very arduous and very traumatic.
It can.
But for you, you're saying that you survived through worship. So I'm going to turn it over to you and just let you share from your heart what does survive through worship actually mean to you?
For me, worship is like, how some people need the gym, some people need, unfortunately, alcohol, some people need drugs. For me, worship is that thing that I run when I don't have to go. So when I'm in trouble, when I feel let down, when I know
Mhm.
that I've broken God's heart, um, worship is my place. It's the one
All right.
place that centers me. It's the one place that I feel at peace. Um, and it's all for me. I know for me, it's all because it's the place where God dwells. Right? God
Yes.
loves worship. He loves a worshiper. He loves for you to worship Him in spirit and in truth. That's what the Word of God says. And
That's right. Come on,
so,
John Paul.
so because that in that place, you feel like, even like I said, even when you've let God down, the truth of the matter is God still loves us. And
Mhm.
no matter what
Absolutely.
we do, no matter how many times we messed up, no matter how many times we've not listened to Him when He's boldly told us no, you can
Right.
still go to your place of worship. You can still go to Him and say, God, I love you. I appreciate you. You are amazing. You are loving. You are forgiving. and I feel so safe there.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. One some things that I think folks need to understand, and just want to just throw out, because some folks that are watching are not necessarily, grew up in the church like we have,
Right.
or might not be actively, but also I'm letting them know worship is not just through song. It's, reading the word,
No.
or it's even meditating, and turning off the
Absolutely.
noise of outside. Worship is just giving him his just due of glory and honor, and basking in his presence. So I know some
Yes.
folks be like, well, I don't sing like her, or I don't, nobody says they sing
You
like me,
don't
but
even have to. You don't have to sound like anybody. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
to be honest with you, I've always, it took me a while. It took me a long time
Mhm.
to stop comparing myself and my voice
Yeah.
to other people. And I had to
Yes.
realize that God loves to hear me.
Yes.
Um,
Hmm.
it was one of my mentors, Tanika Ralston, who
Hmm.
you know and love. Some people know her as Cherubim
Absolutely.
Song. But it took her to kind of explain it to me, in that she talks about how much, not just how much God loves us,
Hmm.
but that he loves us so much, he wants to hear from us. And so
Correct.
it's not about Sonya's voice. Sometimes he just wants to hear Camille's voice say, I love
Mhm.
you. I love you, I love you, I love you, Lord, today. Because he wants to hear it from you, from your mouth. And so,
Mhm.
same thing with even the people who are watching tonight. Same thing. God loves to hear your voice. No matter what you sound like, you can sound like cats outside. He wants to hear your voice. He loves to hear your voice, because only you can worship him,
That's right.
from your own heart, from your own love and adoration for him. So
Absolutely.
that's what it is.
So tell us, what brought you, I know you said, Tanika has, mentored you in different ones, but what
Mhm.
has been your journey through that, where you were able to find yourself in that place? What has life kind of dealt with you that brought you to this place where you knew in his presence is where you needed to be?
Ugh. Um, Here's the thing. What some actually a lot of people may not know about me. My music journey didn't start early like everybody else. It wasn't like 5 or 6 years old or anything like that. It actually took me to go to college. Went to Prairie View A&M for about 3 years, and I sung in the university choir.
Okay.
And I got my very first solo for the university choir was Change. A change, a change. And that was time I actually thought I sounded like something, for one.
Right.
But then, I left Prairie View and I came home, and I started working with some people in LA, these producers who were like up and coming or whatever. And I actually signed to a small label as an R&B artist.
Okay.
And thing that thrusts me out of that industry, I've had countless opportunities to actually sing with major artists or to be a background singer with major artists. I think the thing that thrust me out of it was the guy who was managing all the young ladies at the label. He was a younger guy. He was in his, I don't know, mid to early 30s, and he actually propositioned me for sex, basically.
Oh, oh mercy.
And I guess for me, fame and fortune and anything else that kind of came with that life, I didn't want it that bad to have to
Right.
sleep with somebody to get that. You know what I mean? And
Right.
so I I don't even know, if the contract that I signed was legal or not, but I just walked out and was like, I'm done. And
Hmm.
I took that experience and I went back to church, because I grew up in the Baptist church. My parents grew up had us grow up in a Baptist church. We grew up Baptist,
Hmm.
and we from there, like I said, I went to college. When I went away to college, it kind of I didn't do a lot of church, quote unquote. You know what I mean? So when I came back after having that experience, I started going to church with my parents at a Word of Faith church,
Okay.
and that experience was a little different for me. I think the only thing that I took from that was that's the place where I learned to speak in tongues.
Okay.
Um, but having that experience, kind of like, I don't, I don't know about this. I'm trying to, I don't know. Okay, there we go. So,
I thought
um,
Sarah had the phone. I was like, oh, Sarah, you holding mommy's phone?
no, it's me, and I'm trying to keep it. I just don't want to sit it down or put it on nothing. So anyway, um, so yeah, it was that experience, and then I left. I left the Word of Faith Church, and then I went on to Full Gospel. And
Mhm.
this is not kind of, this is where I found my voice in worship.
Okay.
So I started at a church in Long Beach, um, under the direction of Carl Robinson. He's
Mhm.
deceased now. Um, but it was my friend Tyron who, they heard me sing a solo once at church, and then he was like, you need to jump on a praise team, and I was like, I can't sing like y'all. I'm just
Mhm.
just regular. He was like, no, you need to jump on a praise team.
Mhm.
So I did that. Opened up the door for me, and I then went on to another ministry, the Full Gospel Church,
Mhm.
and I ended up being the minister of music at the church,
Mhm.
and kind of teaching these Baptist people how to do praise and worship in a sense. Along the way, I met Dwayne. God rest his
Yes.
soul. And
Mhm.
Dwayne kind of basically took me under his wings. And he was like,
Yeah.
look, I'm going to introduce you to everybody. I'm going to, whatever me is going to know, he really big brother to me. And he didn't care what else was going on. He was like, look, you go wherever I go, you go. So he took me
Right.
around Full Gospel my very first year there, and introduced me to William Murphy, introduced me to Maya White, introduced
Mhm.
me to um, all of those people. And he was
Mhm.
like, look, these are people you need to glean from and learn from. And I still have relationships with some of those people. But it was that kind of helped me to find my place in worship. And then it wasn't just that, it was also, um, I took every opportunity I could to
Mhm.
learn more about meant to, to actually lead worship, to be a worshiper in a sense, to understand what it was, not be not be concerned about how I sounded, but more so concerned
Mhm.
about what God thought about it and what God
Right.
wanted to hear, what was important to him.
Mhm.
And there's absolutely a formula to it. And I didn't know that. So I made it a point for myself to go and more. So I studied I went to classes that Judy McAllister taught. I went to,
Mhm.
they used to have these worship encounters. And I think the last one I went to was in Florida. And Vashawn Mitchell was there. Lexi with Cobbs was there. Several learned more information about how to lead worship. And I stayed in that vein. Never thought that I was wanted to be like anyone, and never thought that I was better than anyone.
Right.
I just always stayed a student and just
Absolutely.
understood what it meant every time God and said, let's lift. Every time I
Yeah.
got up, it was about
Absolutely.
him. What what I said and what I meant and what I went through the night before didn't matter to me. It was about lifting
Mhm.
Jesus up. And the crazy thing,
Absolutely.
the crazy thing that I've always kept in my mind was I could do something real stupid on a Saturday night. I'm real stupid.
Mhm.
And somehow I would get to church and the Lord, and I would get on my knees and, obviously ask forgiveness, and God showed me, I just want the people to see you. Forget what happened. I just want them to see you. And it was the most amazing thing to me that he would never put back in my mind what I did the night before. He just literally poured out his oil on me every single time. And that just amazed
So,
me about God. And that's
so
why
what
I
I'm
know from him.
So what I'm hearing you say is,
Mm-hmm.
especially for those that feel, I mean, I've done this growing up where, okay, I messed up on Saturday, and so I'm back up at the altar on Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
like every week, like just
Mm-hmm.
like as if a bad perm didn't take, I'm just getting back in the chair for them
Right.
to apply it again, right?
Right.
But also understanding that we serve an amazing, wonderful, kind, forgiving, compassionate, loving God, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
we when we know better, we do better, and so
Right.
I think that oftentimes people forget the fact that because God knows all things, he sees all things, there's nothing you're hiding from him. Everything lays
Right.
open before him. And so um,
Right.
and I believe it's in Psalms 51, it talks about that, he won't turn against a contrite spirit or a broken heart. Like if you have that place of
Right.
wanting to be forgiven and acknowledging, he'll meet you there. So one of the things that you and I had talked about, and I've always told you, because I think it was the very first Be Healed conference, you sang, and you said, I sing from a broken place. And that stuck with me.
Right.
And because sometimes when we say these things, when we oftentimes condemn ourselves, and God has already forgiven
Mm-hmm.
us. So
Mm-hmm.
what did that mean for you when you're talking about you're singing from a broken place?
Not necessarily that I was broken,
Mhm.
but from a place where that he had to put me back together, if that makes sense. So
Mhm.
always probably a better word.
Okay.
Um, just knowing that, you know, if it had not, I don't know where I would be. I could be anywhere. And so because the pitfalls, even though, I had the moments where I was in relationship I know that I should not have been in, or been in places where I know that I should not be.
Mhm.
Um, God still loved me in those moments. Those moments where, you know, I wanted to crawl up in a ball and die. The moments
Right.
where I thought about driving in the canyon and saying, just put off the cliff. And just his love for me, it never fails, that even in those moments he would either bring a song to my remembrance, or or a song would play on the radio, or if I'm driving.
Mhm.
And it's those places that I pull from when I'm digging into worship. I pull from
Mhm.
those places where I was broken as a person, where I had broke his heart. Those
Right.
places where is where I would pull from.
Awesome. And that's huge. It's I think it's something that we have to address, and understand that at our lowest of lows, we're still not dejected or rejected by him. Others might write us off
Right.
and say that they're done, but he's never done. As long as we got blood flowing and a
Right.
pulse beat, pulse and a heartbeat going,
Right.
there's yet portions of that. So, what is one of your favorite worship songs? Like when you're going through a situation, or you just, what's the one that you just be like, you just have to belt it out? Hopefully it's the one you know all the lyrics to.
That's a tough one because what
I said,
what
hopefully
you
it's
say?
one that you know the lyrics to. Hopefully it's one that you know the lyrics to.
It could be Amazing Grace. It could be honestly anything that has grace in it. So it's
Mm-hmm.
whatever I'm feeling in that moment. When I was pregnant with Sarah,
Mm-hmm.
there's this artist that's out of Florida, brothers, Javis Mays, and it
Mm-hmm.
said the same thing. I receive your grace. I receive your grace. He has renewed my faith. I receive it. So I would sing that to Sarah over and over. It was funny when she was in my time I was singing, she calmed down. She would stop doing the flips and kicking me was doing that was giving
Mm-hmm.
giving me indigestion or whatever. Every time I would sing that song to her, she would calm down. So anything that
Awesome.
has the word grace in it for me, because I recognize that His grace is sufficient and it's sufficient for me. Um,
Right.
that that right there is enough for me.
So, what was your journey like in motherhood or to motherhood?
That's a big one. So Deward and I have been married almost 10 years now. Yay!
All right.
And when we first got married, because we were a little older than the normal newlyweds, we knew we
Mm-hmm.
wanted to, have a baby really quickly. So we jumped off
Mm-hmm.
immediately, like, let's go, let's get it, And for a little over a year and a half, almost 2 years straight with nothing, just a bunch of disappointment after disappointment, pregnancy test. And then it was, I think it was like 1 October, I ended up going to see a specialist to see like what was wrong. And, she had diagnosed me at the time. She was like, yeah, well, you have fibroids. And one of them is on one of your fallopian tubes. And you have endometriosis. And she was like, we can pills, we can, give you shots, whatever you want to do. And I don't know if anybody on here has ever had to do type of fertility treatments,
Mm-hmm.
but the worst part about it is that you have to have sex on a schedule. That is not fun.
Mm.
I mean, scheduling
Right.
sex when you're busy, okay, I get it. But when you're trying to have a baby and you're scheduling sex on a regular basis, it's not fun. It takes all the love and care and the
Mm-hmm.
passion of it, at least for the Lord. And it's like the Lord said, can y'all still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. As soon as we decided that I wasn't gonna take any shots. We were not gonna do that on the schedule anymore. We were just gonna, let God be God. And as
Mm-hmm.
soon as we did that, I got pregnant maybe like 2 or 3 months later. And that was right around the time that Deward had gotten a job in Florida, and we were here in Tulsa at the time. So we were excited. We were like, "Yay, we finally got pregnant!" And Deward had gotten a new job, and he was making more money than he had ever made since we had been married. And it was just a great time.
Right.
And 2 months later, after he had moved to Florida, and I was still here in Tulsa, I had a miscarriage.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in Tulsa by myself. He was in Florida leading worship. It all happened so quickly. Um, and I again, my
Mm-hmm.
place of worship is what saved me, because I was so
Mm-hmm.
depressed, and I was so, this is going to sound unchristian, but it's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I was mad at God
Right.
because I couldn't understand how I had finally done everything right the way that I was supposed to. I got married, I'm having sex, it's all legal and good. and
Mhm.
I can't have a baby, and all these women are having babies as single moms and teenage. I just didn't understand it. Um, but I remember T.D. Jakes was preaching a sermon that Sunday literally after I had passed the baby.
Mhm.
And I just got on the floor and I cried
Mhm.
the whole sermon. But he had
Mhm.
started talking about worshiping God, getting to the threshing floor, praying and worshiping like you had never prayed and worshiped before. He didn't even, obviously, I was watching him on TV. He didn't know what I was going through. But it
Right.
was almost like he was talking directly to me.
Mhm.
And I got up and I was like, Lord, you're good, and your mercy endures forever. Um, your grace is sufficient. Everything that I pray for, everything that I've asked you for, you've never failed me yet, and I know you won't fail me this time. And
Right.
as soon as I started confessing his word over my life and started believing and saying, I will get pregnant. I am, God has promised me a seed. He told us to go out and be fruitful and multiply. So this is what his word says. So I started giving God's word back to him. And
Right.
as soon as I started doing that, 3 months later, I'm pregnant again.
Okay.
And we have a beautiful little girl who's old MS.
Yes.
but, but we named her Sarah Gray.
Mhm.
Sarah is name, my mom's mom. And Sarah's also DeWard's grandmother's name, his mom's mom.
Mhm.
Also, we have 2 aunts that are named Sarah. So Sarah just came naturally. It means princess. So we're going to name her Sarah. But Grace was my word. Grace was my name that I gave her. And I gave her that name because I knew that it was the grace of God that allowed me to have that little girl.
Yes. Absolutely. I mean, that's what all of this is. Where going back to the theme for tonight, survive through worship. That's the moment. It's not always the song. It's just going back and getting before Him, getting in front of
Mm-hmm.
Him, and having that intimate time. One of the things that you said earlier regarding He wants to hear your voice, and I thought about it like when you're in a relationship with someone. Especially like when it's new,
Mm-hmm.
you want to talk to them all the time.
Yep.
You want to spend time with them. You want to have that intimacy. You want
Right.
to have that closeness, that bond, and that's exactly what God wants with us, is to have that bond, that closeness, that when we wake up in the morning, that's the first thought. He's the first thought on our mind, and before we go to
Right.
bed at night, He's the
Right.
last thought that we have, and it's that beauty. And so because I mean, I remember you all's journey, and I remember you all wanting to have a baby, and that was just it was the focus, it was the desire. And when you were talking, I just immediately heard PJ Morton's "Let Go, Let God." Do you know how that goes?
Mm-hmm. Soon
Oh.
as I stop worrying how the story ends, I let go and I let God. I let God have His way. That's when things start happening. When I stop looking at back then, I let go and I let God. I let God have His way. So let go.
That's right. And let God,
Yes.
right? That's what we have to do. And that is something that I think it's incumbent upon us, even
Mm-hmm.
those that might not feel like their walk is strong or may
Mm-hmm.
feel a little distant. It is important that that you're not alone,
Mm-hmm.
that you're never out of His reach or out of His grasp, and turning that over to Him,
Yep.
because we can't do nothing about nothing anyway. Because like, if let's be honest, we're trending to almost 2 years in the pandemic, so clearly there's nothing that we can sustain and handle. So um, looking at um, all that's, as we're in Be Healed Week, what is something that you would admonish to those that are listening, male and female, like boy and girl? What is something that you would admonish them that
Mm-hmm.
might watch this replay in regards to their relationship or where they might be or what they might be feeling, to know that they can turn to God? What song would you sing? What would you, how would you minister to those individuals to encourage them? What would be something that you would want to sing out tonight? I told you this was part of this. So
Yes, but you you can give me direction on what
you're a star, you're a star.
If y'all are watching, y'all know my sister, she loves me, and I appreciate her giving me that extra push. What would I say to them? How would I minister? What song would I sing? Give me that again. What?
Maybe there's someone listening, male or female, boy or girl, that might be going through bereavement or a loss. What would, what song would you minister in that way?
That's yeah. I would probably sing a song that I just sung. But I'm trying to think of something else. I don't know, Camille.
Okay, let's try another one.
Okay.
A song of encouragement in general. I think you said Amazing Grace was one of yours.
Yes.
Now I have to ask you which version, because there's there's a version that we kind of hear in all denominations. Then there's another one that's kind of specific to us. It's more seasoned and peppery.
Amazing grace shall always be my song of praise. For it was grace that brought my liberty. I do not know just why he came to love me so. He looked beyond my faults and saw my needs.
Yeah, see, you had it. That's it, and see, this is why we have to always be ready, because we don't know, right? But there's always a song, and I know you well enough to know there's always a song floating in there. Always a song. So I appreciate you so much. I'm looking forward to August. Well, I know you're getting in on the 9th, on the 20th. You're getting in on the 20th. But I'm looking forward to seeing you and Sarah minister, just as you all did on last year. What are you looking for God to do, or what are you expecting for yourself for this upcoming women's conference for Be Healed?
I am looking for God to do something new in me, in the worship experience, but more importantly, I want to the theme of the conference being based around the things that we want to take back. So I want to take back my voice, and not necessarily my singing voice, but just my voice and being able to speak up, tell my truth, just be able to testify as to how God has blessed me and kept me. Some of the things I've been through in my life, I've seen other women in my position end up on drugs or end up, drinking or prostitution. I'm not far from any of that, but honestly, it's the grace of God that has kept me, as always. And
Yes.
I just want to be able to speak up and say that, like say who I am, say what God has delivered me from, say what God has helped me through, basically,
Right.
and not be afraid of people's responses to it. A lot of times, as Christians, but especially as Black women, we're always told that, you know, we're too loud, or we're too
Mhm.
boisterous, or we're just too. And
Right.
I don't care about not too. I am too dark if that's what you feel. I am too loud if that's what you feel. I continue to talk about my child and say how beautiful she. Yep, I'm too that too. I'm that mother. But yeah, just being able to get my way and say my truth and be able to speak up and let the people know that God is God and He can get you through anything.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's huge. Finding, retaining or reclaiming. I think Auntie Maxine said, reclaiming my time, right?
Right.
I hear you. You might, have your little sign of, reclaiming my voice, because there is something that
Right.
we all have something that we're looking to take back, that we feel has been missing. So someone listening tonight, it might be your joy, it might be your peace, it might be maybe a relationship, it might be a family dynamic, it could be
Right.
maybe financial, whatever it might be. Just believe God for it, as
Yep.
we're in that Be Healed season, this
Mm-hmm.
Be Healed month. Look forward to seeing what God's going to do and show up. One of the things
Absolutely.
that we want to do before we say goodnight, to all those that are listening, I want to wish you a very happy birthday. I know I'm 2 days early. This is your birthday Eve,
Mm-hmm.
but I would sing to you, but the
Mm-hmm.
way the show is set up, and it's syndicated, I have to make sure that I don't lose my sponsorship. But nevertheless, you'll get it on the 5th, early in the morning. I'll rise and give you your song. But I appreciate you. I'm grateful to see how God has matured and grown you thus far. I do believe that the half hasn't been told. I do believe that our relationships, our friendships, those that we're connected to, is not by happenstance. It wasn't by happenstance that I met you during Nunu's prom party.
Prom. Yep.
You know,
Doing makeup for Nunu's prom. Who knew?
exactly. It's not by happenstance, and that we built a friendship and a sisterhood from that. And so I'm very grateful to God for divine connections. And so for those of you that are listening, and I know y'all might have heard me, depending on where you jumped in, you might have heard Sonya singing a little bit. Trust me, she has such a beautiful and melodic voice, if you already heard it. But reach out to her. She's available through Facebook and Instagram. Do you want to give them your handles and how they can contact you?
My handles JB Davis. I don't even know what it is, to be honest with you.
You know what? We're going to talk about this offline. You already know what's coming. Um, you already know. So
But
yes.
I do want to do this. Um, Continue to plug, be healed. I have some friends out there who looking forward to hearing me tonight and just hearing my testimony. And I pray that somebody was blessed by something I said, even if it was just a piece of a song that I sung. But I want to make sure that all of my friends and family who are watching tonight, I want to make sure you get registered for Be Healed if you're not all registered. Support this conference. I'm telling you, it will be a blessing to your entire life. You will leave there changed. You will leave there healed. You will leave there set free. So you either, I believe it's now either there in person or
As well as virtual. They can
as well
pick
as
where
virtual.
what's comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. So make sure you do that. If you love me and you know me, you know how I am. I'm not gonna tell you nothing wrong. Please go and support this conference. Sign up. Go to www.behealedconference.com and register for this great conference. It will be amazing. Not just the worship, but the spoken word. Oh my gosh. Last year, my sister Camille, she opened up this thing. But it's your aunt, right?
My cousin, my older cousin.
Cousin. My God, today, just on prayer calls and preparation calls, the way she drops word is ridiculous. So you really don't want to miss it. I'm being silly, but I'm serious. You don't want to miss this conference. You really don't.
Absolutely. Well, your publicist in the form of your brother is making sure that people can find you on Instagram at SJB Davis.
I love that boy.
Shout out to Josh for being a good publicist. We're probably going to do a 3-way call as we rebuke you after the end of this. But nevertheless, you can find her on Facebook as well as Sonya Davis. And so, again, sis, I'm so happy to have you.
Cosmetics coming to you this
winter. Yes, and makeup line, LaGrace Cosmetics. So much that is coming out. And so we definitely want to make sure we stay in connection. So I'm going to wish everyone a wonderful evening. It's always a pleasure. It's always an honor for each and every one of you to tune in on Tuesday night. I don't take it for granted and I don't take it lightly. I'm grateful that God has blessed us to convene on this medium, whether it's through Facebook or YouTube. If you're watching via Facebook, hopefully you shared it. If you're watching on YouTube, you've hit the subscribe button and you hit the little alarm there so you can be notified every Tuesday night at 7. So at this particular time, we're going to wrap up and I'll see you all next Tuesday. Same Be Healed time, same Be Healed channel. And you don't want to miss, and I promise you, when you hear Nicoya Ejire all the way from Phoenix, Arizona, as she speaks on how God healed her from being just in the shadows, coming out of the shadows, no longer in the shadows, but finding her voice in what it is that her hands are supposed to do and what she has been commissioned to do. And so it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. So I wish you all a good night. Enjoy your Taco Tuesday, everyone. Whatever dinners you might be having. But most importantly, you all be safe, be cautious, especially wear your mask in this COVID world. It's very serious, but be prayerful and most importantly, be healed. And we'll see you next week. God bless you.
Bye.